The Museum Roadshow is brought to you by 125 Apparel.
Hello, I'm here out at the Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge with Kelly Blackledge, one of the park rangers out here, to find out more about the past as well as the present and the future. Kelly, some of the times that we've been working with the kids, because that's how I've gotten to know you through the environmental learning, we've seen some of the remnants of the CC projects. Tell us about that, 'cause that's a great history of Tamarac.
Right, so the CCC Camp 4709, was established back in the 30s, and a lot of the folks that work there helped produce, kind of create some of the roads and culverts and dams that made what Tamarac is today in some cases. Yeah.
So those young men were living out there in dormitories.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still see remnants of the old bulletin board in front of the dormitories there and the entrance, and that's all at Chippewa Picnic Area. So as people picnic there today, they can see those things.
Yeah, and that was a very important time in the United States history, a Depression era, and all these young men were put to work, and they did wonderful work out here.
They did. They planted a lot of trees. It really made a difference in the landscape that we see today.
Yeah. The refuge started in 1938, and then it grew and grew. As I live here longer, I'm meeting more and more people that say, oh yeah, I'm from the refuge. Well, they lived here when it wasn't a refuge, and then they ended up selling their land to the government.
Right, so it was a process over a period of time. So land was added as willing sellers were available. So it kind of grew over time, and it was probably early 60s before the refuge was fully established.
How many lakes are out here?
So lakes, there's probably just about 25 lakes on the refuge.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And 3 river systems. So there's lots of habitat, and that's changed over time.
Yeah.
You know, in the 1900s, when there was a lot of logging happening, the red and white pine really was diminished. So today you see a lot of aspen that are filling in those places, and we're planting a lot of trees today to reestablish some of those red, white, and jack pine stands.
Are we in the area of Minnesota where you have a number of different systems going on environmentally?
Sure, so we're right where 3 biomes come together. So we have some tall grass prairie on the refuge. We have lots of deciduous forest, and then also the coniferous forest, all meeting together. So Tamarac brings a lot of bird watchers because you can see a variety of birds that like those kind of habitats all in one place right here.
Yeah, so in May, you partner with the Historic Homes Theater and the Chamber of Commerce and other groups in Detroit Lakes, get people out here to the refuge to see the birds.
Right, and over time it's changed. Our bird list has changed a little bit. One in particular are the turkeys. So 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen a turkey on the refuge. Today, you see them almost every day on the refuge. And there are some species that need a little bit more care. So there are some species like the golden wing warbler, woodcock, that we've been trying to enhance some of the habitats that they prefer to provide a good home for those kind of birds.
I've been trying to learn those bird calls. Kelly and her staff have gotten this. The Friends group has just really expanded and expanded. You have environmental learning out here. There's all kinds of wonderful people that volunteer their time to teach the 3rd graders, and some kindergartners come out too. Tell us about the environmental learning program.
Well, we know that in the future it's going to be our kids that are going to take care of these wild places for us. And so it's very important to establish those connections because, as you know, we're often plugged into our phones, and kids are learning in a way different technology way than we did. Yeah. So they're really plugged in, and we like to get them out and connected to those natural resources while they're here. So a group of volunteers, our Friends group, are really helping us create those connections, help share some of those really neat nature experiences with young people.
Now we're sitting in the headquarters, which has a wonderful display, but you also have the Friends raised what, $500,000 or whatever to build a beautiful discovery center, so
Right.
these children have a place to go warm up or get out of the rain or just come in and learn about the different animals through a puppet show or all sorts of activities.
Right. I don't know what we ever did without the Discovery Center, actually. It's just such a great hub for the environmental education program, place to hang your coat, place to warm up. There's restrooms there. In the future, we hope to add accessible trails around the building. So, because we want everybody with a variety of abilities to be able to enjoy nature.
Now, I've met a lot of retired teachers out here as I've gotten to know the volunteers, and we've got a couple of nurses, which is, it makes me feel good that I know that I've got
And
a nurse out here. And we've got at least 2 doctors who are volunteering.
Yeah.
But how can a person get involved if they're fired up, they're listening to us today, and they see how much you and I enjoy it? How can they get involved, Kelly?
Right, so they can call the Refuge, and we do have a volunteer coordinator that will gather some information and put them in contact with other volunteers that are teaching. So we have a great shadowing program, so you don't, you're not thrown to the wolves, so to speak, in there.
Yeah.
You can go through a training program and then shadow a few times and then be a part of the group. And we love doing team teaching. As you know, it's fun to work with others in that kind of experience. But there's nothing better than having, just watching that light bulb go on when kids, discover something in the outdoors. It is just so fun to see that.
They're wandering around with their compasses, and it's almost like a treasure hunt when they find that bird that they're supposed to find at a certain compass reading.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I've had people say, well, Kathy, how do you know what to teach? But like you say, you shadow somebody. So I shadowed Sue Braun the last time I was out here, so I learned all about the hummingbird and how it migrates down, and that was fun.
Right, and year-round. So winter programs, we go snowshoeing, we take them out on the ice and drill a hole. We've got a cool camera that they can put under the ice to see what's happening under there. And then in the spring and fall as well, there's different activities for students. It's great if you love nature and you have something to share. This is the place to do it. It's fun. It kind of gives you an excuse to be outside too.
Exactly. Because otherwise I might be watching too many Hallmark movies. And for those of you who are worried about wood ticks, I found out the answer, because I don't know if it was you, but somebody told me to buy rubber boots, tall ones.
Yep.
And so I wear my rubber boots out here, and those wood ticks do not like to climb up those rubber boots.
It does help, yep.
Yeah, I only got one wood tick the whole season.
That's great.
Yeah. So the idea is that the 3rd graders then, from the entire area, you have many, many schools involved. They come out here for 3 different seasons, fall, winter, and spring.
Right, so they get to see all of those changes happening, and we want their experience to be meaningful. A one-time trip just doesn't really cut it. There are lots of ecological processes that they're learning as they come out here, and so some kindergarten groups come. We have a lot of 3rd graders coming, and we're also starting to add 5th grade and high school to our education program. So it's fun to see the friends help us grow that program.
And you had some Concordia students learning how to be teachers too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So connecting with college students and
and thank goodness for Dave Schneider, because he snowshoes all day long, whereas I can only last one time around the place.
right. And sometimes we just need people to help put the snowshoes on. If you've ever watched a 3rd grader, if you've ever tried to put snowshoes on by yourself, it can be a little tricky. So lots of different jobs for a variety of people, whatever your interest might be.
Yeah, so the snowshoes, once again, the Friends raised that money, didn't they, or got the grants, so that kids come here without snowshoes, but you've got them all ready to go for them. And then you've got Sunday programs we should mention, so families can come out and see a decent movie that about beavers or about springing forth or all kinds of things.
Right, and then of course Wild Wednesdays all summer long for those grandparents that have grandkids staying with them and wondering what to do. bring them out to the refuge. We have easy trails to go hiking on, and then guided programs like Wild Wednesday. So
Now, is there a cost to Wild Wednesday?
there's not.
No cost. And how about Sunday?
No cost.
No cost to go to the movie and wander around and see the fun display here. The kids love to touch the furs and try to figure it all out. And yeah, this is a great place.
I love it.
Yeah. How many acres is it?
So this is 43,000 acres.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of room to wander.
Yes. Yes, and some days we just need that, don't we, to be able to, take the time to take in a deep breath of fresh air and rejuvenate. This is a place to do it.
Yeah, just driving out here. Like Tom Hunt said, he just kind of went when he drove out here by the time he got to the boundary. Great. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you.
Kelly from Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge. Come on out here. Check it out. Thank you and have a good week.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Museum Roadshow, brought to you by 125 Apparel.